today in the English Premier League. At the end of Amex Stadium, Brighton and Hove Albion, they did host Manchester City. And of course, they handed Pep Guardiola his fourth defeat in all competition. Of course, that game ended 2 goals to 1. Manchester City, they took the lead, courtesy of the goal that came from Erling Haaland. But fortunately, they couldn't, hold on to that lead. They let the lead slip. And of course, Brighton got the maximum 3 points at home at the Amex Stadium. Of course, courtesy of the beautiful goals that came from Fabio Huzela's side. Canute, of course, Brighton and Hove Albion handed Manchester City, not just Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, his fourth defeat in the entirety of his career. He's never had 4 losses back to back. This time it was Brighton that made it happen to him. What a disaster happening to Manchester City currently.
If you want to call it that, but I think it's natural. It's normal to have
natural to be losing like this.
Yeah, to have blip like this. It's normal. I think if there's any coach, if you're talking about coach or any team that can afford, one of the things that can afford to after what they've had or what they are capable of doing in the next couple of games. It's Man City, definitely.
They are not looking like capable of doing it again because it has been happening.
Of course, they've had seasons like this. Liverpool have been 5 points ahead. Last season, Liverpool were 5 points more.
I'm not specific about the number of points ahead. I'm specific about the number of games.
That's what I'm saying. We know that they've lost two straight Premier League, one in Champions League, one in the Cup. Okay, the Cup game definitely probably affects. He probably would have not, but struggling. They've been struggling. Probably, I think their first loss was against. When they lost against Bournemouth, that was the first loss in the Premier League. And I'm not trying to say with Rodri, but yes, Rodri is very important to them. They've actually missed Rodri, but not at this length, missing him throughout the season. And also with De Bruyne also out, and a couple of their players out. I think we saw them using a young star, the youth player.
Alongside Kyle Walker at the centre back. Well, he had Nathan Ake and
exactly.
On the bench, but he didn't make use of those players.
For reasons probably personal. Because Nathan Ake was just coming from injury, and Akanji also, I think he played previous game.
Was that why he had to gamble with Kyle Walker? And of course,
no, I think Kyle Walker didn't start as centre back. Kyle Walker started as right back.
And at a time, he had to play with. It was a Pussy and Kyle Walker playing at the 2 centre half.
No, I think Guardiola depends on the formation. I think Guardiola is kind of formation you play. You won't understand who is playing a particular position because of how the tactical change he does in the game. But in terms of, I think Walker was probably at the right to deal with Mitoma. But let's talk about yes, we know they've lost a couple of games. They're not Liverpool, Man City are in they are how will I put it now? They are in a phase where they are not results are not getting for them. But Man City are the kind of thing that that they are capable of bouncing back, and after the international break. Probably you don't know. They may just pick up, and definitely maybe by January, by the winter transfer window, probably they may go for that midfield because it's only Kovacic, Gundogan came, but you can't compare the Gundogan that left Man City to this.
Because age is not
but let's give kudos to the other team. The team they've lost to Brighton. They're understanding side. I think if
well-drilled side.
If Man City wasn't Man City, because first half I think Man City were the better side. They had a couple of chances, but second half it was a game of 2 halves. Man City won the first half. The second half was for Brighton, and if you saw Brighton, it's like their second half is always their half. They do where they perform. They did that to Spurs, and then they did it to Man City. Coming even against Liverpool, the first half was Brighton. Brighton actually dominated first half. So Brighton, let's give Brighton the kudos. But for Man City, it's normal. They go through this blip sometimes, but not just 4 straight games. He has not gone through that. But in the Premier League, 2 in the Premier League. But I think. Probably the international break will do them good. I'm not saying that they are resting, but
the next going to be against Tottenham Hotspur.
I think somebody must suffer for that. For the sense of what
it might continue. This phase might continue.
Tottenham gives them good day, but I think Man City will not afford. Guardiola will not afford to, if he really wants to maintain continue that league, to afford to go 8 points potentially behind Liverpool after 12 games or so. But I think kudos to Brighton. But Man City, they are in that particular time where they are not really informed, and this is the best time to play them because when they get back to their groove, it's difficult to stop them.
But you do think Pep Guardiola actually underrated Brighton and Hove Albion at the Amex Stadium, playing Kyle Walker and Pusey at the centre half? Would you call that underrating what Brighton can actually do?
I don't think so. I don't think so because I think he understands Brighton. He knows the kind of football they play, regardless of who is the manager, regardless of who they have as a manager. He knows exactly what he was doing because you can't be coming that way without losing streak. Then you want to underrate a team like Brighton, even when they are playing at home. So underrating them was totally totally out of it. In the first half, just like Anu said, he dominated that game. They played it. They should have had one or two goals. Yes, he played that right back. So it's like kind of they were switching. I don't know. Yes, they were switching
on the ball. Yes, exactly. Kyle had to deal with Mitoma at the right back.
Yes. In the first half, yes, he was dealing with
Ruiz that played from left back.
So it has nothing to do with underrating. The thing is, it is just, everyone has this face and all that. This is just their time. He has not something like this have not happened to him in his entire career.
So what will you attribute it to?
I think Brighton were better. That's just it. Brighton were better coming into the second half. Let's not forget against Tottenham Hotspur, they were losing 2-0. Coming into the second half, they turned things around and they won that game. So Brighton at home, and most especially when it comes to the second half, they take the day, and that was exactly what happened. So it has nothing to do with underrating the team or maybe looking them as if they don't know what they are doing or they are not good enough.
A very big congratulations to Brighton and Hove, Fabio Huzela's side. No doubt they are making things happen for their side. Handing Manchester City a very painful defeat. Their second defeat of the campaign. The game ended 2-1. Since Erling Haaland asked Mikel Arteta to humble himself, he has been the one that has been humbled. Game in, game out, finding it difficult to find the back of the net. But it is what it is. Quickly, Aston Villa and Liverpool at Anfield and the Slot and the boys, they continued their impressive form. What a run of form for Liverpool and the Slot, Kanute.
Yeah, I think this game is a game of two sides. A side that is in form and a side that is but Liverpool, Aston Villa is an asset that they're having a blip, because if you look at
just like Manchester City.
Yeah, exactly. They haven't won any game. They drew one and lost a couple of games in the Champions League. And they left they were knocked out of the Carabao Cup. So on a normal day, like going to Anfield, always difficult for any side. So I think
except Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, except Nottingham Forest. I think they did the exceptional thing there. So I think for Liverpool, yeah, they're in a good run. They are flying, and hopefully they are flying at the moment. And most of the games they played, I'm not trying to say, most of the games they played probably at home against the top side, the likes of Chelsea, the likes of now Aston Villa, the likes of Brighton. I think the season will have a long season
to go.
Exactly, a long season. If they can keep their players fit. Yes, and which is almost inevitable. It's almost inevitable that injuries might set in, fatigue might set in. But if they can keep their players fit, the likes of Salah, the likes of, I think they are one of the luckiest teams this season that have had their players.
All players.
Because somebody thought about Jota. Yes, Jota is a good player, but Jota has always been injured. Even somebody mentioned today jokingly, say Fabinho. I said, since when? Fabinho that left his last season. Fabinho is not in the club. So I think, but the players they have now, with the start, he has had an excellent start. Not a perfect, because that loss and that loss to Nottingham Forest and the draw away to Arsenal are only the point they've dropped this season. So I think it's a good one for them. Hopefully they continue it. But it will be a tougher test, because they have even more tougher fixtures going away to these teams they work on at home. It won't be an easy one, but they probably they are title contenders, no doubt about that.
Let's talk about their title contenders in the whites of Malian Kanute. I agree with him.
Yeah, they are. You can't have this run of form, and you say that you're not title contenders.
It's just 11 games.
They will play. Yes, it's just 11 games. That's exactly what Kanute said. Yeah. This is we are just starting. And the thing is, everyone will definitely have their fair share of poor run of form and all that. It will definitely happen, because fatigue might come in. Your team might be in good shape. Then going for the international break and coming back, this might just happen. But Liverpool right now, they are flying, and their fans, yes, they are there. We didn't buy any player this season, and things are talking tough. You understand? We are doing so well and all that. Fine, it is fine. You can maintain it. I just hope they maintain it to the end of this. But it's very difficult for you to really do that. Somebody was trying to make fun of Manchester City. It was like, all the fans that Manchester City have right now, it's that time they go back, because they just started supporting the club. Yeah, they're from other clubs. It's that time you go back to your club, because this is originally not your club, because you're just funding this club because you feel they are playing so well. But Liverpool, they are doing well, no doubt about it. So they are title contenders.
Yes, a very big congratulations to the Reds, Liverpool, and it's lost sight top of the MPFA table. Of course, we know the top of the Premier League table. We know the Premier League is a marathon, not a sprint. 11 games played, a lot to go down after the international break. We wish them the very best in their subsequent games, where they will be actually traveling to St. Mary's Stadium to take on Southampton. Can they continue their impressive form? A question begging for answers. Moving on from that, on Sunday, Manchester United did host Leicester City. This is the second back-to-back. They've hosted Leicester City in the Cup and in the Premier League. Of course, they had thoughts of replicating what happened in the Carabao Cup, where they decimated them 5-2. Coming into the Premier League, of course, you know how difficult it is to play a team back-to-back and defeat them back-to-back. Manchester United, the last game, the farewell game of Ruud van Nistelrooy on an interim basis as the manager of Manchester United. That was his last game, the farewell game. He managed to get the maximum 3 points, defeating Leicester City 3-0. Of course, his record as a Manchester United interim coach, 3 wins and a draw. He never lost a game. Kanute, in that very game, United against Leicester City, I'm beginning to see improvement coming from Manchester United. Would you say under Ruud van Nistelrooy or the players are actually improving?
I think it's both ways. I think coming from Ten Hag's sack, and another thing, yes, and the players definitely, most of the players are probably maybe wearing happy. Maybe probably some players have probably showed that wearing happy. The likes of Ahmad, as we were, that wasn't getting the game time probably he deserves. And probably, but another thing that actually helped Van Nistelrooy is the opponent. The opponent he played. I think apart from Chelsea at home, these opponents are normally you played Leicester City 2 home games. You can't compare to maybe like Liverpool that played Brighton back to back. That was a home and away.
Chelsea that played Newcastle.
That was home and away. And these teams are far better than So the fixtures actually favor them. Chelsea at home normally is a game that United wins on a normal day, even with Ten Hag. So, but the fixtures actually helped him, which is good because nothing like when you are giving a job on an interim basis, you are giving a team that yes, you know that you have what it takes to, you are better than them, you have what it takes to be. So winning those games normally, I think even with Ten Hag, probably I feel that probably these games will have been win. To me personally, I feel Ten Hag would have won those games. The games, normally I feel Leicester City at home, I feel Ten Hag would have won those games. To be fair,
all right.
Old Trafford. But it's a good one. It's a good one that probably winning those games and preparing for the next manager. But I think for him, unfortunately, there's a new manager coming. But for him, if he have stayed, I would have not judged him yet. To when probably more games. But I think a new manager is coming. I think it's a new clean slate. But for him, it's good for him. Is the record he left with United is a good record, winning 3 of the games, winning 3 and drawing 1, which were games probably that a normal day he should have won.
Sonny Bobo, under Erik Ten Hag, of course, Bruno Fernandes, we know how creative he is. He has a lot of goals and assists in him, but he struggled about 13 games or so, if I'm not mistaken. He hasn't put the ball at the back of the net, not to give an assist. But under Ruud van Nistelrooy, 4 games he's managed to play 4 goals and 2 assists, 21 chances created for Bruno Fernandes. Would you agree that the player has decided not to play for Erik Ten Hag again, or Ruud van Nistelrooy is a different manager compared to Erik Ten Hag?
Yes, is he a different manager compared to Erik Ten Hag? Every manager, they are different in their own way, they are unique in their own way. But talking about him not ready to play for Erik Ten Hag, I think it's totally wrong for people to think that way, because no player would love his team to lose. No player would love on his own to be a loser, to be on the losing side of the game. No player would deserve that. It's just that for me, I feel it is a policy, the way Erik Ten Hag thinks, the way he brings it. Yes, he brings his idea.
Maybe the dressing room, they were not happy.
They were not happy, exactly. So when you are not in that frame of mind to really do well, it terms that sometimes it affects you. Yes, it affects your work rate in the field of play. So he has nothing to do with them not wanting to play for him. It's just that the ideology of Erik Ten Hag was not working for them. And this is somebody, just 4 games. I think he managed to score 10 goals, considered 3, and in 4 games, 2 clean sheet for Van Nistelrooy. So that's a good one. But talking about them not ready to play, I don't think that it's just the idea of the manager of Erik Ten Hag that's not suiting them. Look at what he did in that game. You notice that what is this Ghanaian name? Fatoa was running that lot in that game. In this 57th minute, he brought in somebody. Mazari switched to that place. Since Mazari switched to that place, Fatoa was sit. He was not even playing. So that's the manager that has something to do, and that was exactly what he did. So he has nothing to do with them not wanting to. It's the coach ideology that was not working with the players.
Officially, he is done being on an interim basis of Manchester United. Of course, there's talks on him if he will remain as an assistant coach to Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim and his coaching crew they have arrived in Manchester to continue on this very one. Can you think Amorim has something to build on what Ruud van Nistelrooy actually did before his tenure expired?
He's a good coach. He has proven that at Sporting Lisbon. Good record. He hasn't lost a game this season
at all.
Yeah, the last game he won, it's coming down for 2.
Can imagine?
Yeah,
he was looking like he was going to lose that game.
Sporting Braga. Yes, I think. But one thing you should know is that the Premier League is a different
no doubt it is
game, especially. But he's a good coach. That is the most important thing. Good coach. Hopefully, he imparts his tactics, imposes his tactics to the players, and the players get to work with him, get to understand his tactics, and get to implement his tactics on the field of play. It will take time, but definitely, hopefully, he has what it takes to do well, because he has proven that he's a good manager.
Quickly, at the heart of the midfield, Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte, they're beginning to click as the Manchester United permanent 2 defensive midfielders. And Rashford, his struggle continues. He struggled under Erik Ten Hag. He's still struggling under Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I think this is a new slate, like I said. the manager is coming, I think it will give everybody a clean slate because his tactics probably will be different from Van Nistelrooy because it depends on if he wants to continue with the formation he uses is well known for at Sporting Lisbon, which is the back three and the two running wingers, right and left. Depends. It depends on the players that fits to that tactics. So, but hopefully it's a new slate for everybody. Even Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes, the Rashford. It's a new slate for everybody to prove to him that yes, they deserve a spot in the team.
All right, a very big congratulations to Manchester United. Ruud van Nistelrooy, of course, giving United that very important 3 points. That win has taken them to 13th on the log. After 11 games played, officially have 15 points. They have other games to play, but immediately after the international break. Let's talk about Chelsea Arsenal at the bridge. What would you say happened that Arsenal had chances to take the maximum 3 points? Even saw Mikel Arteta running on the floor, but unfortunately they couldn't take it. What would you say happened to Arsenal Football Club?
You said his chances. Wasn't it the game that me and Sonny saw? Yeah, it was an even game to me. To be fair,
it was just they were evenly matched.
If you check the statistics, it was even. Possession was not in 2 points. The shot on target goals. It was an even game. I think both sides.
Disallowed goals.
Yeah, 1-1 disallowed goals. It shows that it was a game that no side. It was a good game. Shows where Chelsea are, and it shows that okay, Arsenal, despite their struggles going to that game with Odegaard back, Arsenal since Arteta came to the Premier League, he has not lost to against Chelsea, which is a good record. Continue that record. It shows that both sides didn't want to lose because a loss to both sides, even Chelsea lost to them.
Very exactly. The title race.
So the title race or confidence also going to the international break with losing. For both sides, most especially Arsenal. So it was a good game. Yes, the chances were there. Both sides created chances. Towards the end of the game, there was a that was a very big, and it wasn't offside. I think it wasn't offside. But it is what it is. It was a fair game to me. If Chelsea would have lost, maybe to me it would have been a bit unfair because to me I feel that it was a fair game in total, but. Just
haven't you seen games where the people that played so well?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, small margins. So, but I think a point. If you had both sides, both teams. If you saw even after the post-match interview, both sides they know how hard that game was, how intense it was. So it was probably a point that they will be happy with.
Canute, you only talk about moving Pedro Neto to the right side as his best position. Immediately they took him to the right position, introducing Mikhail Mudryk. He got that all-important equalizer for Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah, it just shows it's the same thing as Saka. I think Saka and Neto, they are with left foot, and if you give I think he was giving the space.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you give space.
When you give players like that space, they're going to hurt you. So I think that's why you see even after the game, Cucurella, they asked him about Saka. He said Saka is a brilliant player that he had to be on him because Saka, if you give him space, is going to take advantage of that position. So I think Arsenal at that point, I don't know what happened in the midfield. They actually let him go. Probably the player that was supposed to. I think after that goal, I think Rice was removed. Probably
the two defensive midfielders, Partey and Rice, were in the 18-yard box when Pedro Neto at that particular time.
Exactly.
None of them were there
so
to
I
actually
think,
hold on
Marking
to
does not actually probably maybe the defensive midfielder. Maybe at that point, maybe there was someone that was also wrong with him. But let's not remove the brilliance from Neto. It's not everybody that has the ability to do that. He's a brilliant player from that left foot, giving the space, and he saw the space, and he took the chance.
And son of all, you give every accolade to Marc Cucurella. What an outstanding player! Of course, he brought in what he did in the Euros against Arsenal. Marked Bukayo Saka out of that very
I think
game.
he was thinking that was the Euros because what he did was the replica for what happened in that game was a replica of what happened in the Euros and all that. So he really played well, really helped Saka out, marked him out in that game. Yeah, completely. And I just hope that was not an injury scare to him because the way he left that game. But Cucurella came in and he did the job. He did the job for Chelsea. Just like Anuti said, it has an evenly matched game. Both teams, they gave their best, they played their all. But I think as now we're a little bit, I think if they had that goal at that minute, maybe it would have been just an icing to the cake because Arsenal, with the kind of players, Odegaard coming back into the team with the injuries that they had, I think they really played well.
With the inclusion of Martin Odegaard, Arsenal were they better?
Of course, definitely.
Yeah.
Odegaard is the engine of this squad.
You saw the first goal.
Yeah, exactly.
You saw the pass.
You saw the intelligent brilliance. He's the engine because he's brilliant. He's a brilliant player. You saw, and what people not talk about, only what he gives to the team in terms of when he was, but off the ball, you see what he does. You see, he's the leader of the press. He's the leader. He's the leader of the press. He's the one that goes back to the team, get the ball, and another thing
get the ball and moves it.
And another thing is like the other players are more confident when he's on the team. Okay. You see the confidence of other team. Rise of Partey, Saka. Although Saka was marked out with Kukurela, and whenever Saka holds the ball, two or three players get to it because they know how there is. But Odegaard definitely. So it just shows Arsenal have been missing him
somebody
for since he got injured.
Yeah, exactly. It was there. Exactly. It was there for everyone to see.
So I think it's a good thing, and he's not going for the international break. Gets his because he wasn't 100%. He wasn't that fit. You saw some games that he lost some ball, but Odegaard has been missed.
But quickly before we move ahead, time isn't our friend. Moises Caicedo, he's beginning to prove critics wrong.
Yeah. He's doing it. He did that again. Yes, let me say most of the games that they played this season.
He's slowly becoming N'Golo Kante.
He's becoming that player that Chelsea were missing for a very long time, and he's doing it. There was a ball that one of the Chelsea players was supposed to track back, and he was there to do that. It was like the way he screamed, like you were supposed to do this, and they were not do that. So I think this the price tag and everything. Like I'm going to give my mom the best life and all that. I think he's trying to prove it now. Yes, I can really do that. He's doing it. He's doing the job.
Unfortunately, they had to share spoils. Arsenal, Chelsea. Of course, that game happened at the Bridge. 1-0. Last night, like I said, they had opportunity to put the ball at the back of the net. Win it at the dead, where they saw Mikel Arteta rolling on the floor. But unfortunately, it couldn't happen. They just had to share a spoil.
And sorry. Timothy called and he talked about Palmer. I think I'm beginning to agree with him because in some games you see him marked out and all that. So it shouldn't be a must that Palmer must play for full 90 minutes. Other people should be given the chance because he was totally out of that game. Against Manchester United, he was not in that game, and against Arsenal, he was totally marked out in that game. So you should consider something like that.
Cole Palmer struggling once again.
Don't forget that I think before that game, I think he had it was a minor doubt before that game, and also I think the formation, the tactics, what's his name, Maresca used didn't favor him because. Instead of Kurela talking into the midfield, it was actually the right back, what's his name, Gusso, that was talking to the midfield, which actually disorganized his role in that midfield. I'm not saying that Arsenal actually did well in terms of the midfield. Partey, Rice, Odegaard was there. So it was definitely a competitive midfield. You were expecting to have a field day like he has with smaller teams, exactly. So, but at the end of the day, it was a good match.
All right, yes, at the end of the day, it was a good match. 1-1. At the Bridge. The record for Mikel Arteta against Chelsea officially continues. Quickly, yes, before we open the phone lines, the Tottenham Hotspur, of course, the Ange Postecoglou side, they lost, handing Ipswich their very first win of the campaign. They lost 2 goals to 0-1. What is actually wrong with Ange Postecoglou side? Quickly, Sonny Babu.
Ange Postecoglou is one. Today is going up and the next day is coming down. So Tottenham will always be Tottenham. That's exactly what happened to them in that game. Now, for them, the Ipswich have been able to get their first win of the season, and not just at home, not in their home ground, but at Tottenham's home ground, and they were able to do that. So I think big congratulations to Ipswich for being able to do that.
I would just say winning Man City in the cup and the Aston Villa in the league and losing to Crystal Palace and Ipswich. I think that's all. That's the analysis. Winning to Aston Villa and Man City and losing to Ipswich and Crystal Palace. I think that sums Tottenham as a club.
It's indeed sad for Ange Postecoglou, but unfortunately he couldn't get the maximum 3 points. It was handed to Ipswich Town, getting that very first win of the campaign. What is wrong with Ange Postecoglou? Don't forget he said that every second season he definitely wins something. What?
Still on course.
Yes. What would he be winning this campaign?
We'll Manchester United.
For see what Ange Postecoglou can achieve with these losses. Currently they are 10th on the log after 11 games played. They have 16 points, just 1 point above struggling Manchester United.